What's going on, everybody? It's your girl Stizzle Speaks. Welcome to another episode of Coffee Talks Live. I know it's been 2 weeks since the last episode. Don't hurt me. Please don't go crazy in my comments. Life be life and things happen, but we are back today. So if you're new to my channel, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share it out with your friends. This is Coffee Talks Live, where I talk about all things lifestyle, love, leadership, and leveling up. And today I'm really excited because my guest today shares the same background that I have in terms of the beauty industry and really maximizing in her space. And I'm excited to talk about her journey and leveling up as a makeup artist from Florida and moving to Los Angeles. We also share in common we're new to Los Angeles. We moved to this crazy place by ourselves. Me, kinda. I have a roommate, but by ourselves in the space of like we are our own dominant women and moving about this world as we know fit. And so seeing her come over to LA and just really kill the game is super inspiring and amazing. And I hope that you guys enjoy the episode. So again, welcome to Coffee Talks Live. I'm going to see if my guest is in the building and we'll get her on. I hope you guys are having an amazing Thursday. Oh, shit. How do I do this? Okay, hold on. Hi. I'm in the mobile office, sweating. Yo, listen.
Hey,
Life be lifing. How are
life be
you?
life in, girl. I get it. It gets
Yes,
the best of us.
yes.
Um,
Good. My plan was to be able to be home, get ready, put my makeup on.
you listen. The skin is popping. Let's talk about the skin, though. The skin is
Is
popping.
it?
Yes, very much
I
so.
need some brows. I need a whole 9 yards, but I'm so happy you're here. I would have hold my phone in the space, but usually it will do a temperature out of control and shut down when I go live in the car.
Oh,
So I was
yeah.
trying to hold it. We'll see what happens. But welcome to Coffee Talks. I'm excited to have you. I know you're always super busy, so thank you for taking the time. But it was like a great topic in terms of timing because recently Rihanna and her $1 billion, valuation for
Yeah.
herself is like the new news. So I'm excited. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, give a quick little intro.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Stizzles peeps. How are
Oh,
you guys doing? My name is Thalia. I am originally from Turks and Caicos Islands and migrated over to Florida in 2008. And I have been in the beauty industry for about 8.5 years now. Sometimes I have to count, like, wait, how long I've been doing this again? Um, but yeah, it's been a road, it's been a journey. And I'm sure Stizzle can attest to, just how much growth comes with being in the beauty industry. It is definitely not a one-dimensional, uh, arena, if you want to say that. But I'm excited to keep going and just keep adding different elements to, what it is that I've already brought to the people. And, like I'm excited. I'm
yeah.
excited.
I didn't realize you were originally from Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, yeah. So see, when people ask me this, I'm always like, see, you got a little bit of time because like I gotta like
Yeah,
break
no,
it down.
because that's like 2008 was not that long ago.
Not really. I sometimes I feel like it's still fresh, but it's considering most people, would have done most of their being raised in the states, but I did most of my schooling, if not all. I left when I had one semester left of high school, so I did all my schooling in Turks.
Nice. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that. So how was the transition for you? Like what made you decide one that you were going to move to the States, and like how was the difference in terms of culture going from Turks and Caicos and moving to Florida?
As you would imagine, I mean, a bit of a culture shock. Especially Turks and Caicos is such a small, very, very tiny country. My both my parents are from Jamaica, so that's where the Jamaican background comes in too. But I've never left Turks for 17 years. That's all I know. So, of course, coming to the States, it was a bit of a, realization that, oftentimes we think the world is just what we've seen, just the four corners of the place that we've been raised in. And you come somewhere else and it's just like, girl, you got a lot to learn. you know.
Right.
So it was definitely a wake up call, and you know, from then to now, I can see just how much growth has happened with
Mhm.
myself personally, and also, you know, becoming a businesswoman. You know,
Mhm.
so it's definitely been something that I could write a book about.
Right. And you should, as you should, start with the ebook, get that going, and definitely
Right.
the book. So talking about makeup in the makeup industry, you know, I told you a little bit about my story. We share the similar background in terms of working for the same cosmetics brand.
Hmm.
When you started 8 years ago, where did you start? Did you start in the store as a makeup artist, and then that led you to just going solo? And at what point did you go solo?
So I actually had no background in makeup when I first started. I started at Mac, and you know, back in the day, that was like, girl, if you work for Mac, you saying something.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that was a big deal. And I mean, I was fortunate to have met someone, this young lady named Rachel. She at the time was freelancing. I think she had just gotten her position, her permanent position. And she was like, hey, listen, my manager is looking for freelancers to kind of like fill spots at this particular location. And I'm like, girl, you do you want to see a joke happen in real time? Like, I don't know nothing about makeup. All I
Right.
know is God didn't bless me with eyebrows, so I just know how to fill in my eyebrows. But
Right.
I had done two people's makeup for prom, and I just casually posted it on my Facebook, just like, hey, I got to do, you know, my friend's prom makeup. What do you think? And I got great feedback on it. So, you know, she had taken that, if you may, what would be considered like my portfolio work, all that I
Hmm.
had, and she presented it to the manager. And, you know, I went in for an interview. And what I did realize is that I'm sure you can also agree with the company, it's a lot less about your skill set, because that's
Hmm.
something that they are willing to train you on, and more about your energy and your, you know, ability to help a customer, communicate with a customer, you know, and provide them what it is that they need. So luckily in my case, I was like, listen, I'm gonna go in there and get these people Island Gapalia, and they go either love it or hate it. And
Right.
it from there, I just, you know, I went from freelancer to a permanent position within a little less than a year. And then I spent 3 years there and built my clientele just from just being authentic. Like I tell everyone, I don't care what it is that you're doing, you're pursuing. Authenticity is literally going to be the driving force of any business that you
Hmm.
are, you know, putting yourself into. So that's what's worked for me so far.
Yeah. It's so we have such a similar story. Like when I interviewed for Mac, I was in college at the time. So this is like 2002, 2003.
Hmm.
And I had zero experience with actually professional artistry. I had only done fashion shows for friends, and I would literally do like 15 girls makeup, not get paid for it, just doing it, thinking I knew. And I was telling you this story how I like learned that gold eyeshadow and black eyeshadow cannot go together. You'll make mud. Essentially, I
Hmm.
learned that
Hmm.
working for Mac. But before that, like I didn't know the difference. I was just making it work. Like rose pigment was my go-to for everything. Make it like you had those set colors for bridal, like that was the go-to. And I
Yeah.
remember, I remember my verbal interview. We were sitting at on a bench in the middle of the mall. I remember talking about like pride as part of my interview because I was like, how am I going to work for Mac? Because they're never going to hire me. Like I don't know makeup. And then I still remember my makeup interview. Like it was my cousin who I brought in. She has big bulgy eyes. Like the girl has like eyes like nobody's business. And I was like, okay, I hope they don't ask me to create a crazy look that I won't be able to do because I'm gonna be so embarrassed. Long story short, by some luck of God, I made it through. And I was like, I started as a freelancer in my location, you know, 6 hours a week, sometimes 12, working 1 or 2 days, and then moved up within a year to a permanent artist and then into management. So like my path went from artistry to then management because I had a feeling like I wasn't that great at artistry. Like I could coach another artist on like
Hmm.
how to sell products and how to service their customer. Like I was really good at that part of it, to your point where Mac was a company where it was about how can you sell to customers and get them back in the door versus just do a beautiful glam look. Like the glam look is part of it, but it's more so about what's the lesson that you can teach while they're in this seat. So it's so crazy that you mentioned that because I literally had the similar story. And I feel like a part of me feels like maybe when I was in senior management or even doing events, like we probably cross paths. Like I used to do a lot of events with them too, going
Mhm.
support because I was so good at getting the team riled up and all of that. So I'm like, we probably crossed paths and didn't even know it, but that's awesome. And so coming from like where did you make when did you make the decision, and how did you decide that you wanted to leave Florida where you had a really good clientele? You still do, which is amazing. Great clientele, great business happening in Florida, and like LA was going to be the move. So all the way across the country, working within a business that requires you to have relationships, especially if you're not going to work for another company or behind a counter. It was literally just you.
Talk about an act of boldness. You and I have spoken about it, that I am a faith-based individual, and I feel like the move that I made was so much more than just picking up your things and traveling across the country. It was all about, trusting God, putting my trust in God, and like actually like putting into action the things that I pray for, right? And faith without works is dead. So for me, this was like, okay, I had reached kind of like a pinnacle with my business where I wouldn't say stagnant per se. I don't think that's a fair word. However, somewhat of a cap when it comes to creativity and artistry. And you coming from the East Coast as well, you can relate that, I feel like on the East Coast side, a lot of people are still struggling to be their own selves, be individual, be, like just embrace their individuality. And I feel like, as great as things were going with business, I found myself in a box. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've made my name in the bridal industry. Bridal has my heart. Like you see, when I'm at it, like during, the day, it's like I literally feel like I'm in the fairy tale with my bride. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I got that part down packed. But let's see what else I can do. Let's see, what the TV and film industry has to offer. Just even connecting with other like-minded, creatives, and just to broaden and expand my, creativity. So,
Right.
to decide to leave was really, really big, especially because I've never been away from family like that. I have a lot of family in Florida, aunts and cousins and things like that. And you've heard me talk about like coming here with zero, nobody.
Right.
Like how that is. That was scary, very scary. But it also ignited this type of a flame in me that I feel like I never felt before. Where a lot of times when you make a move, it still feels safe. You're not really allowing yourself to put 100% of trust in God and also your fullest potential.
Right.
And I feel like that's where I was. That's a place that I was at. Given that my business, eight and a half years in the industry, my brand and business is 5.5 years old. And I being self-employed and everything, how that is. You are your own motivator. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to be the one that's like, girl, listen, I know you want to sleep in. It's nice that you can create your own schedule, but if you don't get up and make shit happen, ain't shit gonna happen. Excuse
Right.
my language. But it was a moment of realization that I said, you know what? I would rather be the person that tries and fails if this does not work, because I want people to understand this was not like oh, she got it all together. She just like, like picked up and left and things are going great. No, this was me literally saying that no one else is going to be to blame but
Right.
me. If I look back over my life and say I had the opportunity and I didn't run with it,
I
you
love
know?
that. I love that. And I love the point that you made in terms of, and if you guys are just tuning in, it's Coffee Talks Live with Sizzle Speaks and Thalia. I always call her B because I'm like, girl, my pronunciation is crazy. But she made the point of saying there's no point of you moving into a new place, a new space, a new territory with the same ideas and concepts about your current life, right? Like, if you're not able to face challenges, you're not able to grow and expand your bubble. So it's important that you don't just pick up and go from one comfort zone to another comfort zone. So I commend you on that, because for me moving, at least I moved with a roommate. I knew my best friend was here, so I had a little bit of support coming on this side of the coast. But it's challenging when you literally don't know anyone and you're just out and about and trying to find your way. So I commend you for that. That's super dope and awesome. And then, like, in terms of planning the move, and you don't have to be specific in details, but what did it take for you? Because it was like around COVID time, like pandemic time, probably closer to the end of pandemic. How did you prepare for such a big move in terms of like getting financially ready? Because I know someone watching is probably like, oh, LA is so expensive. There's no way you can be able to do that. It won't happen. How did you prepare for the change?
To be honest, I think, whatever way you decide to live your life, I always say don't live beyond your means. However, whether you decide to be minimalistic or, you just pick and choose where and how you want to spend your money as it's fitting to you.
Right.
I am a bit of a minimalistic person. I don't go out a whole lot, so I'm very strategic with like saving it's my tips or whether it be big or small. To me, it all adds up.
Hmm.
And it had been on my heart for about a year and a half. I actually was preparing to move to LA in the end of 2020. God said no. God said now is not the time. Stay a little butt right there. We still got a little things we got to work out.
Right.
Um, and I had taken 2 weeks off, spread out. I picked a think summertime, and then the winter time. I had decided to come here and like scout out and check out a couple apartments and just kind of just see if this was a place that I could really and truly envision myself. Right. That worked out. I had a friend I was fortunate to have come with me and kind of just give me her input and be there as support. And December was when I finalized my place here, and it was everything I could have imagined. However, um, a lot of what I had put into the move was a lot of my savings. And I'm very transparent. I don't believe in kind of sugarcoating, and, a lot of it was savings because you have to remember you're coming here with no clientele. You've
Hmm.
spent five plus years building your own clientele, and you're coming to a place that you know how LA is. As I've seen so far in these five months and change, it's a very cutthroat place. You got to have thick skin. People are on their grind. Ain't nobody really watching you like that. So you got to put yourself out there. Even you have spoken to me about things like that. Like, you got to get out there and network. So that was a bit of, it was uncomfortable. Let's be real. It
Right.
was
Yep.
uncomfortable. But, coming here strictly on savings, it also shows you just how much preparedness is required when it comes to making any type of move, or even if you're going to stay stationed in a position. You just don't know. If COVID has taught us anything, it's live life. You gotta stop being so, I don't even want to use the word frugal, but you're gonna die and left the money anyway. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like use wisdom, but at the same time you gotta live. But in the same breath, it's just like, had I not been so strategic and diligent with my, how I spend, because I had this vision in my head that eventually I would leave.
Hmm.
So, God forbid anything happens, I need to be prepared. So
Right.
thankfully, during these 5 months, it has been a climb. It has definitely been a climb. But what I have found here is that which is something that I carry throughout my business, is quality over quantity. So I'm not working as much. I'm coming from 32, doing like 32 people in the span of 4 days between my studio and traveling for international weddings, because I am a bi-coastal as well as international bridal specialist. So that was always, something that I prayed on, like, Lord, I'm grateful for the business, but I
Right.
need to slow down.
Yeah.
This is a lot. Even though I have a team, it's still, being a business owner, as you can imagine, there's still so much that's required of you to make sure that, you're building the blocks correctly. You have a great structure and a good foundation. So it was still requiring a lot of me. And then I get here and God's like, all right, this is what you asked for, but you need to be even more specific in your prayer requests on the type of clients that you want, the type of people that you want to encounter, because I don't believe that all money is good money.
Right.
I don't believe that.
Say it
So,
again. Hmm.
while it's great to have, the opportunity to work with countless people, I'm extremely selective about who I allow into my space, because this is a beautiful, beautiful thing that I have so much gratitude for being in the position that I'm in, to be in such a vulnerable space with people. You're sitting right in front of someone's face.
Yep.
You've met them for the first time, never heard of them, they don't know you. It's so much trust, and you can imagine just how much it is for you to, like, you meet a new friend or you're dating, the vulnerability that's required to really get to know that person and for you to unveil yourself and let them see you, that takes a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
So I look at this and I'm just like, I don't take it for granted. However, at the same time, just as how, your client is seeking and looking and shopping around to see who they want to work with, I'm
Hmm.
selective about who I'm allowing in my space as well.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
that's
know,
great because some people will take it as, okay, I utilize all this money that I worked hard for to save up and have like a cushion in my savings to get to the next level in life. Now I need to make that back. So I'm just going to take whatever work comes at me.
mhm,
Right. And some people will walk into the space and have that mentality and end up either burning themselves or running very thin and
mhm,
not being able to reap the benefits of having such a major change happen. So it's great you think
absolutely.
that way. And with artistry and with being a makeup artist in LA where there's so much competition, right? There's
Mhm,
so much competition in terms of the beauty industry, and there's so many solopreneur makeup artists that if you take on the wrong gig or you put yourself in the wrong circle or you end up at the wrong celeb's house just because of the money, you're going to tarnish your brand, and it's going
absolutely.
to be a lot harder for you to recover from that just because it was some quick short money. And I always say fast
Mhm,
money is gas money. So
mhm.
it don't always look at like the fast quick come up. So it's great that's your perspective. And then I wanted to touch on, there was something you were talking about in terms of understanding like building your team is important. And like for me, in terms of leveling up as an entrepreneur, you level to a place where you can then hire other people, or you have other people that work with you. How did you identify who is going to be on your team, and what are some of the things that you look for in someone to support you as like a solopreneur makeup artist in LA?
That's a great question, and something that I always try to touch on when I do get asked these things, because no multi-billionaire, billionaire has been able to get where they're at without a team, without an amazing team behind them. You can't do it alone. And fortunately, in my case, like, again, it's been 5.5 years, so my personal assistant who handles emails, talks to brides or wedding planners before, we go the full mile of booking,
Hmm.
securing a date. She has been with me for 3.5 years. And she was actually a bride of mine in 2016. She started off as a client. And, it's just so funny how God works, because he'll find little mysterious ways to give you what it is that you're asking for, and it may come in the most precious way, and it's up to you to use your discernment and your spiritual eyes. I don't want to get too deep in the spirituality, but I can't help it. That's something that
I
literally
love
is the
that because
foundation of.
I'm not that person. So every time you talk about
Yeah.
it, I'm like, yes, pour it in, pour it in.
Yes.
And that might be his little mysterious way to like set me straight and be like, you know what, pay attention to this. If it's coming up
Mhm.
multiple times, this is like your code, your cue to pay attention. So I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So yeah, no, so I had posted something, and you see how everyone runs their business very differently. For me, how my brand started is I used to do comedy back in the day. If
Mhm.
you don't know that, I did stand-up comedy for a short span of time, but this was back when Vine and like Instagram videos were like 15 seconds. So I initially built my platform off of just being Thalia, like funny Thalia, cool Thalia, whatever you want to call it. And she had kind of like placed herself in my life as a person that, yes, she had hired me for a job, but we had built this beautiful connection on just like, when she came to me, her words was, I don't even have to get paid right now. I just want to be surrounded by beautiful energy, people that love what they do, exude just like gratefulness and like all these things that I try my hardest and I'm very intentional about putting out into the world, right? Because no matter what, I always think whatever business that you're in, people are going to buy you before they buy whatever you're selling.
Yep.
So it's about being genuine as well. You don't want to put on the show, but people see that and they remember that. So she had come to Mac and done a trial and everything, but once her wedding was passed, she was like, listen, like, you need help. She was like, I see you ripping and running. You can't do this by yourself. You answer emails. You be doing like, girl, I was traveling from Miami to West Palm Beach like 3 times in a day. And that's
Wow.
about an hour and a half of a drive. So I was in such demand. But then, you know, like I said, if you're not structuring your business right, you will burn yourself to the ground.
Mhm.
So I had to take I'm a very stubborn person, and I'm a very type A person. So this was God saying, girl, you need to calm your little tits down and get you some help. I'm
Right.
sending this girl your way. And you know, you have to just trust that she has your best interests at heart. And she has. She 100% has. She's behind me every step of the way. You know, she's my left ear when my right ear ain't working, you know,
Mhm.
and she's been with me from then to now. And so I say that to say a lot of it too is just, if you being really intentional from the get-go on, you know, the kind of energy that you want to put out into the world, it's gonna come back to you. People are going to see that, and they're gonna try to, if they're not already that, you are going to inspire them to emulate that energy that you are putting out, which is something that she gravitated to, you know, and she made it, you know, known in her initial approach that that's what drew her to wanting to be a part of the brand, wanting to be a part
Mhm.
of Beautifully Made, you know. And then I have 2 other artists that's a part of the brand. So whenever we do bridal parties, anything, any head count above 4 people, they would take on the rest. So if you have a party of 12, we'll split it up amongst ourselves, just so we're not, you know, to create optimal timing for the day. You don't want
Right.
anyone being burnt out and tired. And I also want to give my best to the bride, which it's all about her. So,
Yeah.
you know, less, whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of people are like, you know, well, you can make more money if you take more people. After a point, you realize the experience is more of the value rather than,
Mhm.
you know, the money that you take home.
Yep.
And God will send you more business if you are, you know, if that's your mindset, it's always gonna come. Like,
Yeah.
God gonna find a way to send it to you. So yeah, no, I just think the importance of building a team is being, also not letting your team feel like, I'm big on this. When we walk into a space and we're all together, the only reason people can tell that I'm the boss is because I may be delegating initially, or, you know, depending on my brand shirt that I'm wearing for the day, it'll say, you know, CEO or lead artist or whatever. But when it comes to how I treat my team, nobody is going to feel beneath me ever.
Right.
And my assistant even said that before. She's like, you know, I love how you just always make me feel like I'm important too. Don't
Mhm.
nobody want to work nowhere where they don't feel appreciated. That's fact.
100%.
No matter where it
Especially
is, I don't care how
now in
much money you get
2022.
in. Huh?
Yeah. I said especially now in 2022, which is
Girl.
why so many of these businesses are having a hard time getting employees because they don't understand like what it takes to really make someone feel valued and that it doesn't take a lot. It
Yes,
really doesn't
absolutely.
take a lot. It takes understanding what that person needs and what that person wants, and not like doing one generalized idea of like, oh, everyone values money, so let me just throw some money or a bonus. And it's like, no, that's not the case. Some people value
Exactly.
time with their manager. Some people value acts of service. Like, you really have to be mindful of that. So I love
Hmm.
that you take care of your team, because someone who's in the space of leadership coaching and having that background, it's all about the people that are around you helping you grow your business, because at the end of the day they could be doing anything in the world and they're there with you and supporting you. So
Absolutely.
that's super amazing. And in
Goodness
terms of
knows.
someone watching that wants to be in your shoes as an entrepreneur running, you know, a beauty brand, what's the structure? And you don't have to talk about numbers, but what's the structure when it comes to having a team of other makeup artists, in terms of pay? Like, is it sort of like our freelance background where it's like, okay, here's the gig, it may be, you know, X amount of dollars for this wedding, and then you'll get this percentage, like you split it up that way? Or like, how would I do that if I was like, hey, how am I pay these people?
So it depends on this, you know, whether you have an LLC, like, you know, whatever, however your brand is structured initially, like when it comes to EIN and like all that kind of stuff. Me personally, because I started off small and I just wanted to make sure that I was even getting enough business to be able to put anyone on payroll. I hadn't gotten to that place for a very long time, but I'd say the easiest way to do it is, which is why if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which is why, if you
Mhm.
notice, that's what Mac has done for years. It's like, before we hire you, we need to see an extensive amount of, like, like a series of behavioral patterns, and like, are you on time, or your ethics, all that kind of stuff. And that's the mindset that I kind of had when building and structuring the team. Is just like, I don't want someone that's just good at makeup. I need someone that has the same ethics that I do. Because I'm thankful when my clients write these reviews. I need there to be no type of gap in, when they look at me, when they look at Gerline, when they look at Geraldine, like, they look at all of us, there's a synchronicity that they see, where, okay, I can tell that she's a part of Beautifully Made. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the mindset that I had when I said, you know what, this is who I'm gonna bring onto the team. And another thing too is, like, social media has, it's a blessing and a curse. But even like one of my senior artists, she, when I first reached out to her, she had like 403 followers or something.
Mhm.
And at the time, I had already had, like, I want to say I was at like 13K.
Mhm.
And I reached out to her because I had been doing some, like, research, and like looking into her reviews, looking into her, her page and her portfolio. And I'm like, I like this girl's work. And she seems like she's a mannerable person. She has good ethics. So I inquired with her, and I was just like, hey, how would you like to be a part of my brand? You'll get, X amount of pay, whatever, whatever. And made sure it made sense to her and it was good for her. She hopped right on board, and her words were, thank you for seeing me.
Mm.
And that, I still remember this even 3 years later, because in my mind, I'm like, why wouldn't someone see you? And then it showed me just how shallow people can be when it comes to, like, giving someone a shot. You
Right.
can't go off of numbers of, like, followers, because you don't know. Maybe that person does not have, or wasn't wasn't didn't have access to the same resources you did, or is not
Mhm.
as sociable as you are, but they have what it takes to,
Get the
help your
job done.
brand scale. Yeah. So I always think about that, and I let that be a humble reminder as I carry on throughout this business, is that, just like I'm here now and I'm experiencing that in the way, because yes, I've had some great opportunities, but I also do feel the frustration of not being seen because
Right.
I'm not verified, or I'm not, the right hand makeup artist in for Kelly Rowland, or, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, y'all don't know what y'all missing out on if y'all just give me a shot. You know what I'm saying? So I always think about that, even as I continue to scale the business. I'm just like, see more than just surface level of a person and what
Mhm.
they can bring to the table,
Yeah. Yeah.
um but I think you had asked about, like, structure in terms of pay and things like that. I go the route of freelance,
Mhm.
just until I get to a place where, unless you have a storefront, or, like something like that, where it's consistent work, I think the best way to go about it is to freelance. I think I lost you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I put my phone on do not disturb. That way no text or anything will come through and interrupt it. Because normally I'm at my computer doing this. And for
Hmm.
some reason the moon is there, but it want to bypass and let a call come through. And I'm like, not right now. What are we doing? iPhone?
That person really needs to talk to you then.
Right. I'm like, how does that work? Do not disturb. Like, I'm literally staring at the moon right now because I keep watching the little eye, because the eye will tell you who's watching live, right? And as this platform
Hmm.
continues to grow, there'll be more people getting on live. Like, once I really drill down and get serious about doing it and doing more live. But anyway, you were saying about pay structure. Freelance is the direction.
Yeah, I think freelance is, it doesn't require too much of you. They're still getting paid. They're still, getting the exposure, things like that. But until you have, whether it be you're a sole proprietor, however you structure your business, it just needs to make sense for them and make sense for you. So for me, I find that freelancing is just easiest and best.
Right. And now, how do you I'm trying to think of how I want to ask this question, because I go back to my bartending days, right? And like
Mhm.
bartending, you got cash on hand, It's right in front of you. Granted, I was in my 20s, so like my brain was nowhere near where it is now in terms of being responsible. But like for someone who, because you could go and do a makeup service, right? And get
Mhm.
paid, like let's say hypothetically speaking, just to throw a number out there, someone's going to do a glam makeup for their birthday. That's $500, right? They pay you cash. And it's like, how do you manage paying yourself? Like, do you pay yourself first or do you pay the business back first? Like, what does that look like for you as an entrepreneur?
Well, having good discipline, it carries through everything in life, even through business. So from early on, I always saw it as it's not my money, it's the business's
Mm,
money. So as much as it's tempting to say, "Oh, girl, I just made $500," nope, because you'll always find yourself in a very you just be stuck. And I'm glad you touched on that because especially for small business owners, black business owners, the second you get a little bit of cash flow, you ready to spend, you ready to like, oh, let me just go travel here. I'm all for that. I support that. But if you are seeing a bigger picture of whatever big dream you got, them disciplines from now that you implement now is what's going to sustain you when your brand becomes to the point where like you can't reach Jeff Bezos right now. You got to go through multiple, managerial positions in the pyramid before you get there. You're not going to
right.
get there if you have the idea and the mentality of like, let me just take a 20 out of here. No. So from early on, before my business was even hitting six figures, I was like, nope, this is not my money, and I make sure I put it in the business account.
Mm-hmm.
So however you decide, if you want to pay yourself 40, the business gets 60, you get 40 or 70/30, that's up to you. It depends on your needs at the moment, how much you've invested, how much you need to, future invest. I think it just depends on the individual, but no, I don't just pocket and we don't really do cash. Everything is through a portal. So
Right.
whether it be PayPal, Venmo, I think they're all great um, systems for business. Like Cash App, I've heard people say, "Girl, it ain't that deep." When it comes to Cash App, I don't take Cash App. I need
Mm-mm.
something that is going to like I can, dock into QuickBooks or what I
Right.
mean. So Cash App is, I feel like, is so informal, and whether the person says it to you or not, they'll remember that and not take you serious because we know that Cash App is more used for it's personal use. Girl, let me
Mm-hmm.
just send you a Cash App real quick. No. So one thing about me that I appreciate, but sometimes it sucks because I'm such a cool back person, but when it comes to business, there are a lot of things that have to die to
Mm-hmm.
like in flesh. When it comes to business, has to die. So you have to know who are your friends, you have to know who are just acquaintances or clients, and you
Right.
separate the two. If God's leads you to say this person can be more, great, don't fight it,
Mm-hmm.
welcome that, because you don't know what that person can do for you or vice versa. But I have for so long maintained the position of I run a business. It's not where I want it to be yet. It's not a big business yet. However, people are gonna from the get-go, they're gonna understand and respect that though this seems like it's a hobby, because
Mm-hmm.
I have followed my dreams, and like I tell many other people, it's not too late. If you found yourself in a job or a career that is paying the bills but you're miserable, I couldn't do that. I'm an Aries. I can't do that. I'm stubborn. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, I don't care if mommy and daddy upset. Watch me. I'm gonna show y'all that I can make it happen doing what I love. But even if it comes down to you doing something that people see it as just something for fun or just to pass the time, it is up to you to be firm and assertive about what it is that you are, what your purpose is, the impact is. Let people
Mm-hmm.
know and understand that you are serious, and, like, you're going to be respected, you
Right.
know?
Exactly. And I always say too, like if you have knowledge or experience to share with the world that will impact or change someone's life and you don't do that, you're not giving your portion to this world, right? So for
Yes.
example, you have a skill. Like it makeup artistry is a skill, and I don't know if people really understand that to be the case, and they just think it's like, oh, you're just putting on some eyeshadow, you know, filling in a brow. it is a skill, and it has evolved so much
Mm-hmm.
in so many years, and it has such a thick history that it's beyond just color. It's beyond
Mm-hmm.
just making someone look beautiful. Like there's so many elements to it. And so to have that skill and not really hone that and work at that and be able to impact the lives that you impact, if you weren't doing that, there's a piece of you that would not be doing what you were put on this earth to do, because God gave you that gift. And I really want people to understand and believe that, because it doesn't matter what anyone has for their vision for you, but you. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to really just own your vision and know that it's not just about making money. Like there's so many, like I said, lives that you touch every time you pick up a makeup brush, or every time that you work with your team. You're changing someone's life. Like bridal
Mm-hmm.
alone is a complete
I'm gonna sip
experience.
water to that.
Yes, it's a complete experience. Like there's so much that you learn about yourself, right? Doing bridal makeup, in addition to learning about the whole entire bridal party, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
brides will put you through the test of time like nobody's business. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes those relationships test you more than the relationship with your partner, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
they're questioning everything. They're specific. It's their most special day of, for most of them, their life outside of giving birth, if they're giving birth to a child. Like
Yeah.
it's that deep. So I mean, it's impactful what you're doing. I literally hold my head high for you, because I know your ethic. I know how much you care about it, and I know how genuine you are in terms of just having that feel good juice. And not a lot of people have that feel good juice. A lot of people have the, oh, what's in it for me mentality and what am I going to do? No, you're firm in your 2 feet and understanding like what your path is coming to LA and what you want to accomplish. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you pour so much into your team, and just hearing this for the first time, like what you give back to them. I already knew the work ethic was there. I already saw your work. If y'all didn't see her video on Instagram, go follow her on Instagram. The link is in the bio. I mean, the bride that she most recently did, in terms of the one that stuck out to me the most, the woman, the light-skinned woman that married the guy, she had the long train. It was a reel that you did. Beautiful,
Oh yeah.
gorgeous,
Yes.
gorgeous makeup. But the whole experience in that moment speaks to the kind of person that you are and the heart that you have. So I know it's nothing but up from here for you. I know LA is going to give you everything that you came to get and more. And that Instagram verification, that person being able to see who you are, it's already happening. It's already happening. And just know that when we don't think someone's watching us, y'all, there's someone watching that needs it the most. When we don't think the world is watching, there's one person watching that needs it the most, and that's all that matters. So I know where you're going in this journey is above anyone's expectation. I obviously, if I have any connections to people who need makeup that are within the realm of like, this is what I want to accept and receive, I will give it to you. And you know, anything you need from me, I'm definitely here for you. So
Am
keep
I
keep
allowed to? Am I
yes.
allowed to?
I got one hand. I got one hand, but it's here. Keep going. And I can't wait for that time where it's like, all right, Thalia Robinson, $1 billion beauty industry, like that shit is going to be so amazing. And it's coming for you. So, thank you. Thank you for being here. But before we head out, I do want to ask, because I ask every guest this, on your coffee break, what do you do?
On my coffee break. Um. Mm, I'm probably. I'm
Dancing to some
probably.
reggae.
You know, I was gonna say it, and I'm like, nah. Let me give a more serious answer.
I mean, shoot.
Listen,
I watched that video and I'm like, yes, okay, I can do this a bit. I can do it. I can do it. Because, girl,
I'm always craving just feel good vibes.
mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care what it is. If I'm gonna dance, if I'm gonna peek out the door and I see a neighbor walk, what up, neighbor? Like,
Yep.
I'm just always craving. Just the world is things are so hard in life right now. Just anything that you can do to be in a space of like just more gratitude, more thankfulness, more happiness that you create, because you can't expect
Mm-hmm.
nobody to give you that. You have to
Right.
seek that and make it habit for yourself. So yeah, you I think you made a good guess. I probably will be dancing, girl, you know.
Yes,
So
because I would
listen,
tap your back. Trust me, I'd be like, okay, we doing this.
which is why, listen, I'm not gonna spill too much tea. I'm just gonna spill the tea that you already gave. But when this reggae event surfaces, be looking for me because I'm gonna be front row and center. Like,
Listen, it's
let's
coming.
go.
It's coming. Trust me, it's coming. It's
I'm
just,
ready.
it's it's the thing that all of us, not all of us, because some people have mastered it, but it's the thing that I'm working on mastering every single day, and that's the perfection and the what if it doesn't, right? And so, I've the flyers done for the most part. Like I talked to a DJ. I'm just looking at getting something more within the budget, but it's going to happen. It has to happen because like I have a vision for it that it's gonna work out. We're gonna be reminiscent. We're
It
gonna be
will.
jamming. We're
We
gonna be
speaking
jamming.
it. We speaking it in Jesus' name. And if I can pour back into you, Queen, like you said it right before we were getting off. Don't think that you are not being watched or seen or appreciated. The work that you are doing, like I don't know if people see it as, oh, you just talking. She just has the gift of gab. No, this that you are doing is a gift. And I am so thankful that you are walking in your purpose, you're walking in your truth, you're unapologetic. That shit is inspiring
Thank
AF.
you.
I love you for just being who you are, and just know that you are appreciated. Every word that you put out, every Usher meme that you put out, it is right on time. Somebody needs it. Somebody is receiving it with a happy heart, a joyful heart. Me being one of them. So I just thank you for your light, and don't let anyone dim that. You are on your way to more and more greatness, and I'm
Thank
rooting
you.
for you, sis.
Thank
I'm
you.
rooting
I
for
get
you.
that next week. This has been a rough week, so I accept and I receive. I appreciate that. And then take us out by letting everyone know where they can find you. So if you're just tuning in, this is Coffee Talks Live on a Thursday. Go ahead and rewind the episodes. We talked about all things when it comes to being an entrepreneur in the beauty space and really leveling up and moving and uprooting from one coast to the other and making it happen. So where can they find you? What services do you offer? And I have your information already in the description.
Okay, so if you guys are just tuning in, my name is Thalia. I am the CEO and founder of Beautifully Made. And my Instagram and all socials, you can find me at BYM Artistry. I laugh because you always be like, hey, B. Oh, you're the only one that's allowed to. So that's BYM Artistry, and all things bridal. Bridal is my main category. I'm a specialist in the bridal industry. Birthdays, showers, you name it. Bachelorette parties. I'm working more towards TV and film right now. So if anyone is, in the set realm, like, anything like that, holla at me. I'm ready to work. Let's do
Love
this.
it. And make sure I holler at her because she's fantastic with them hands. I appreciate you so much for spending the time and making time to do this with me.
Thank
I need
you.
your services right now, clearly. So get up
Let me
out of
get
here.
that face. I love that face. Let me.
No, girl, I need you to. The hook assist the I'm like, woo,
You're
child.
beautiful.
We gonna make it work. I love you.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a good day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.